Donald Trump doesn't favor gangs whatsoever. He has this theory that all gang members are illegal immigrants. He tries to tie in the audience with stating percentages of gang related violence in urban communities such as Chicago and Baltimore. He wants Americans to understand that he himself is against violence and will try his best to prevent it. He uses parallelism by continuously using illegal immigrants as a synonym for any gang member. He tries to isolate them and categorize them as all bad people. The diction behind the word illegal is strong because this connects that not only are they not from here, but they are also here unlawfully, yet breaking rules and regulations by keeping up this violence. Chicagoans have this idea that gangs like to ruin communities by tagging property. This is how gang members claim their territory. Seeing these tags throughout the Chicago community shows how many different gangs there are here and make it quite scary because who wants to see this? The photographer appeals to the audience because this observation is in a residential community as well as the downtown, which there are many people, showing that gangs are everywhere and they cannot be destroyed. Many times, gang members are perceived as African American males from urban areas that join in because it's all they have. Drugs, prostitution, jail, and thugs are all grouped together to form our personal schemas of street gangs and their entailments.
We're gonna go hang out with Young Chop, Dirk, Lil Reese, and all the other superstars of drill music. Chicago has one of the longest histories of gang violence. It's basically the place that invented gangs. It's the most segregated city in America. Basically, it's a perfect breeding ground for like anger, resentment, and violence, and the type of awesome music that comes from such an environment.
What you're seeing, what you're witnessing is like someone trying to break out of a cage almost.
Yeah.
But there's like a lot going on here, and it's only happening here. You know, you could only really get a Chief Keef from Chicago.
Gangsters do what they want, suckers do what they can.
All we do is pop bottles and smoke dope.
The author uses drugs, police cars, and guns to appeal to the viewer by showing these negative aspects of gang factions. The illegal things they involve themselves with show why they are highly disliked upon a large community being the Chicago community. This visual text is impactful because it uses a lot of statistics to appeal to the audience. The owner of this piece says that there are almost 100 more Chicagoans killed than the amount of U.S. soldiers killed in Afghanistan. I found this to be pathos. They make this connection to make us feel sad. With this statement, it comes to the realization that we have the higher murder rate than those fighting in a war. The title says, "Stop Shooting, I Want to Grow Up," showing that this is most likely from a child's perspective because they have yet to grow up, but they know that it is hard. This is a way for the author to use the pathos appeal as well because you actually start to feel bad that children have to grow up dealing with this idea and knowledge that gang violence exists and is easily influential upon them, especially those in urban, poor communities who feel little love from those around them. The colors of this image are very dark. The artist wants the viewer to understand the blood and darkness within such a powerful community.
Violence on the streets of Chicago really looks like. The 20-year-old had recently returned to Chicago from college in Georgia. He was gunned down in what police are calling a gang shooting.
Yeah, he's a handsome young man, too. You know, very handsome young man, and he got killed. You know, probably over some nonsense.
Devontae's funeral was Friday, a few hours before the start of another violent weekend in Chicago.
I won't probably see anything. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a gangbanger. I ain't gonna lie, I'm keeping real with you.
Silas Ratcliffe and Maurice Childress are both 16. Both are associated with the gang and say they wouldn't be surprised if they were shot today.
Walking down the street, you never know. It could be your time to go. Right? You always gotta look behind, turn to your back. Bullets ain't got no name. They might want to kill me, and then they end up killing you, and not killing me.
The kids are matter of fact about the things they do and what they've seen.
I think people get shot, killed, robbed, stabbed. I've done some of that, all that. It's crazy.
According to Chicago Chicago police, the murder rate here is up 35% compared to last year. People living here say the gangs have taken over. Some say they'd like to see the National Guard come.
There are so many different street gangs out here that it's kind of hard to get around them. Most of the time you are near a street gang member and you don't even know it. Children are so prone to get involved with street gangs because of the music we listen to. Well-known Chicago rappers Chief Keef and Lil JoJo are a part of gangs themselves, or Lil JoJo was. BDK and GDK. In their music, they rap about stuff like this. When young kids in these urban communities listen to this vulgarity in their music, they want to be like them. Social media is a mass fuel for the affiliation people have with gangs today.
This commercial is informational for you and your future children.
Hi, my name is Amari. I will be speaking about safety of our people.
So many children out there are in gangs, and it is your job as students to say no to gangs and yes to a great future.
So many children in the world have died from gang violence. More than 500 children have died from being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
So think smart, but joining a gang isn't a part of it.
Many gang members started as children. This clip is appealable because it uses teenagers who grow up around these street gangs to show that you don't necessarily have to be in a gang to be somebody, even if that's how you feel. Little do you know, Hadiya Pendleton herself was shot by what was known to have gang affiliations. This clip too shows our perception of gangs, because who doesn't? It's showing that you should not want to be a part of a gang because it has this negative connotation in Chicago and actually all over America. I asked some of my friends and family members on their perceptions of street gangs. Obviously, the majority made this connection that the leading cause in violence here today is caused by gangs. It's how the media and how we as the Chicago community use our language to raise awareness for the violence and the gang affiliations there are today. From this, it is concludable that though there are many benefits and positive aspects that come from a street gang culture in Chicago, much of what the outsiders know comes from the bad things they do, because that's what has a lasting impact on us, and that is what we know the most about. I personally believe that language is a way in which we view one's culture outside of our own is solely based on what we hear about it, but also what we may see. Language is a huge factor in the perceptions we have for other cultures, but also culture can impact how one may use their language. To the gang culture, these texts show the reasons that they are looked at so horrendously. The negative language used out against these gangs in society today are the excuse to why those outside this culture think the way they do and have the perceptions the way they have.